Solomon wrote the book of Ecclesiastes. For the most part, it's a pretty depressing book. Vanity, vanity. Everything is vanity. And through most of the book, he says, I thought maybe education was it. I thought maybe reading a lot of books was it. I thought maybe just enjoying the pleasures of food and fun in this life. I thought this was it. I thought wealth was it. But I found, that's not it. Vanity, vanity, all is vanity. And you can find a couple of verses to pick out of that if you made that your life verse, you'd be a really depressed person and would be apart from what God's plan is. But when you read the book in its entirety and put it in the context of who's writing it, Solomon, towards the end of his life, the wisest man who made the stupidest mistakes by marrying so many women and taking on foreign wives who led him astray into idolatry, so that very bronze serpent that Moses lifted up in the wilderness got brought into the temple and set in a corner, and eventually they started worshiping it. Years after Solomon, he built not only the temple of God, but he built temples to other gods where abominable practices took place. You put it in the context of that, and you find a man who wasn't happy. His relationship with God was not fulfilling enough, and so he was looking for fulfillment somewhere else. And what he found out was nothing else fulfills. Well, when you understand it in that context, it makes a lot of sense. Some of the Psalms of David we will find fit into that same category. David is talking, and he's not advising us that this is a great way to think. Yeah, look at your enemies and, pray that God breaks their teeth. It's one of the prayers that we'll find in what we look at today. So we have to remember to put it into context. So as we do that in Psalm 52, we find Psalm 52, to the chief musician, a contemplation of David. When Doeg, or one of the pastors that I know and like, Pastor Skip, says, I always want to call him Dog. The Edomite went and told Saul and said to him, David has gone to the house of Ahimelech. Now we're going to come back to that, but let's read the psalm first. Why do you boast in evil, O mighty man? The goodness of God endures continually. Your tongue devises destruction like a sharp razor working deceitfully. You love evil more than good, lying rather than speaking righteousness. You love all devouring words, you deceitful tongue. God shall likewise destroy you forever. He shall take you away and pluck you out of your dwelling place and uproot you from the land of the living. The righteous also shall see and fear and shall laugh at him, saying, Here's the man who did not make God his strength, but trusted in the abundance of his riches, and strengthened himself in his wickedness. But I am like a green olive tree in the house of God. I trust in the mercy of God forever and ever. I will praise you forever because you've done it, and in the presence of your saints I will wait on your name, for it is good. It's important to understand the story that this psalm is written around. And in this section of the Psalms, we find a number of psalms that give specific reference to times in David's life that the psalm is addressing, or kind of like this is the VH1 interview with David. And he's saying, yeah, well, when I wrote Psalm 52, I was thinking about back when that whole thing happened with Ahimelech. That's what we're looking at here. So who is Ahimelech? And who's Dog the Edomite? Well, the story, we won't read it, but you'll find it in 1 Samuel. And I'll give you the basics of it. David was running from Saul. It was before he had a lot of men gathered to him, just before all the discontents of Saul's kingdom started hanging around with David, and he ended up with an army because of that. And he was hungry. He was being chased all over the place. He was hungry. And he went to this little town called Nob, where Ahimelech and the other priests were there. and the ark was there, and they would sacrifice there. And that's where they had the table of showbread, where they would take 12 loaves of bread, not the real thin pita bread that we think of as the Middle Eastern bread, but this particular bread. They would add leaven to it and oil to it and spices so that it became a round cake-like bread, about 1.5 inches high. And they would take 12 of those loaves and they would show them before the Lord. They would bake them either once a day or once a week and swap them out and put them before the Lord. And they were holy unto the Lord. And they were a reminder of God's provision to Israel, and a prayer of Israel to God, provide for all 12 of the tribes. And no one was allowed to eat the bread. When they took it off, and put the fresh bread on, the priests could eat it, but nobody else, because it was holy unto the Lord. David comes by and says, look, man, we are famished, and I'm out on a secret mission for Saul, he tells Ahimelech. He says, I'm like CIA, FBI kind of thing, and, we're hungry. Can you give us some food? And Ahimelech says, well, Dave, all I got here is this bread, but if your guys are holy, if they're clean, if they're in a ceremonially clean state, well, yeah, I'll give it to you. And you remember Jesus actually referenced this story when the Pharisees came against him for them doing things on the Sabbath, like healing people or like eating, and he brought up this story. So David takes the bread, and also Ahimelech, David says, you know what, I don't have a sword. I can really use one on this mission. And Ahimelech says, well, we're priests around here. We don't have a bunch of weapons. But I just happen to have the sword that was of Goliath, which is a pretty big sword, because he was a really big guy. And he gave him back the sword that David had actually taken from Goliath and chopped Goliath's head off with his own sword, if you remember. So David goes. Well, that dog was there, and he saw this going on. And dog goes back to Saul. And Saul's sitting around complaining, going, man, you guys don't know where David is? You guys are a bunch of no-good bums. And Dog says, I know where he is. He was right over there in Nob. Ahimelech gave him some food and weapons. Saul got angry. Saul gathers his people together, gets Ahimelech and the other priests together. He says, what are you doing feeding my enemy? Ahimelech says, what do you mean? He's on a secret mission for you, so I fed him and, supplied him. Saul said, nah, you're aligned with my enemy. Which one of you guys in my entourage here wants to kill this guy and all the priests? And none of the Israelites would. They said, we're not killing priests. Are you crazy, Saul? Dog, the Edomite, not an Israeli, says, I'll take care of it. Kills him, kills all 85 priests, then goes into the town and kills man, woman, and child throughout the village there. And so this is the psalm that David wrote when he heard what had happened. That Dog had told Saul what was going on, and then obviously the horrible thing that happened afterwards. And so he's really kind of addressing Dog in this, isn't he? Why do you boast in evil, O mighty man? Why are you going for what is evil? He says that you love evil more than good. Isaiah says this in Isaiah 5. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe to those who are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. We live in a day, today, where a lot of evil things are called good. And a lot of good things are called evil. There are some who would say what we're doing right now is evil. I'm brainwashing you. I'm forcing you to believe in fairy tales. And therefore what I am doing to you right now is evil. There are some who would say that. They haven't said it to me directly yet, but they have to friend pastors that I know who have more exposure.